Ladies and gentlemen, wake up before the world expects you, not for the world, but for the war within. There's something sacred about those early hours when the rest of the world is still quiet. No noise, no distractions, no opinions trying to pull you left and right. It's just you and your choices. That's the moment where greatness is born, not in the spotlight, but in silence, in sweat, in solitude. Waking up early isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about positioning yourself where your purpose can speak louder than your excuses. The war within isn't flashy, but it's real. It's the voice that tells you stay in bed when the mission says get up. Every day you rise before the world opens its eyes, you've already won. Not because the alarm rang, but because you responded with purpose. The bed will always be softer than the truth. The warmth of the sheets will always compete with the fire you're trying to build inside. But you can't sharpen your mind while sleeping through your life. You can't lead when you're still following comfort. There's no success in snoozing the very opportunity that could separate you from average. So you rise, not because it's easy, but because something inside you refuses to be ordinary. This is not about time, it's about ownership. It's about telling your life, I'm in charge. Before the world tells you who to be, you decide who you are. Before anyone texts you, calls you, distracts you, you already met with your dreams. You already prayed on your goals. You already faced your fears in the mirror. That's not just discipline, that's direction. That's building armor before the battlefield. Because life is going to test you, it's going to break you, but it won't destroy what's already been forged in silence. People think the grind is all noise. They think it's all about who shouts the loudest, posts the most, flexes the hardest, but the ones who truly rise, they're moving when no one's clapping. They're grinding when no one's watching. They're building something no one else sees yet. That's why the war within is the hardest fight, because no one's there to validate you. No one's there to cheer you on at 4:30 a.m. It's just you, your shadow, your breath, your reflection. But in that quiet, the loudest voice becomes your own. Not the insecure one, not the tired one, the warrior, the one that remembers why you started. The one that's sick of excuses. The one that knows mediocrity is a lie told by people who gave up too soon. You didn't come this far to stop now. You wake up before the world, because if you don't fight that internal war first, the rest of the day will own you. That early moment isn't just about rising, it's about remembering. Remembering who you said you'd become. Remembering that every second is borrowed. Remembering that you're either shaping your future or running from it. Discipline is not about control. It's about respect for your future self. When you make a promise to yourself and you keep it, you're not just staying on track. You're building something unshakable. You're telling the future version of you, I got you. That's what real discipline is, not a cage, but a compass. It doesn't confine you, it refines you. The world tells you to chase freedom, but they don't tell you that real freedom only comes after sacrifice. That saying no today can open the door to the life you actually want tomorrow. And most people don't get that. They call it boring, they call it too hard. But the truth is, they don't respect themselves enough to be patient. There's a cost to every shortcut, a price to every excuse. Every time you avoid what you need to do, you're stealing from your own future. You're delaying the strength, the peace, the confidence that could be yours. Discipline teaches you to stop living for the feeling of now and start living for the foundation of later. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're building a wall against regret. Every rep, every early morning, every uncomfortable choice is a deposit into a life you can be proud of. People think discipline is about grind, about pushing yourself to the edge every day, but it's more than that. It's about consistency in the dark when no one sees your effort. It's about saying no to temptations that don't align with your purpose. It's about choosing progress over pleasure, and it's not glamorous. It won't go viral, but it works, because while the world is chasing the next rush, you're building a foundation that doesn't shake when life hits. You're investing in your character, not just your comfort. That's a different kind of wealth. That's a different kind of power. Discipline whispers when the world screams. It keeps you grounded when your emotions try to take the wheel. It reminds you that feelings are temporary, but your future is permanent. And every time you act based on feeling instead of principle, you're gambling with everything you've worked for. That's not just risky, that's reckless. But when you walk in discipline, you're not led by noise, you're led by vision. You don't need to explain yourself, you don't need to convince anyone. You just keep showing up day after day because you know who you're becoming. Most people will never meet the strongest version of themselves because they quit before it shows up. They give in when it gets hard, they bow out when it gets boring. But discipline teaches you how to stay. Stay in the process, stay with the pain, stay through the silence. Because on the other side of all that discomfort is a version of you that's not easily shaken, not easily broken, not easily distracted. And when the storm comes, and it always comes, discipline doesn't panic. It stands tall because it was trained for this. Let your silence offend the noise. Every time they underestimate you, you double your focus. You don't fight distractions with arguments, you kill them with execution. You don't respond to critics, you rise above them. Silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. The louder the world gets, the calmer you move. The more they talk, the deeper you dive into your mission, because the goal was never to impress, it was to impact. And impact doesn't come from noise, it comes from clarity. The people who doubt you, they don't matter. The people who overlook you, they're not your audience. Your energy is too expensive to spend on explanations. You weren't born to explain greatness. You were born to live it, and that means mastering the art of not reacting. Not reacting to gossip, not reacting to envy, not reacting to people who fear your potential, because the truth is, when they can't understand your silence, they'll fear your presence. They'll feel your energy without hearing a word. That's real power, not proving them wrong, but showing them you never needed their approval in the first place. That's how you win, not with volume, but with vision. Not with noise, but with results. People who move in silence know something most others don't, that the more you reveal, the more you invite distraction. Every plan doesn't need an announcement. Every step doesn't need validation. You keep your goals close and your discipline closer. You don't need to talk about your next move, you let your next level do that for you. While they're watching, you're working. While they're guessing, you're growing. While they're laughing, you're learning. And when the time comes, you'll speak louder with action than they ever did with words. The world is addicted to attention, but attention doesn't build legacy. Attention fades, but character stays. So you stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. You stop needing noise and start needing peace, because it's in the quiet where the real work begins. That's where the habits form. That's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where the transformation takes root. Not on the stage, but in the shadows. Not in the crowd, but in the cave. That's where warriors are built. And every time someone underestimates you, every time someone doubts you, you don't react, you redirect. You take that energy and you pour it into your focus. You don't match their volume, you match their doubt with discipline. You don't fire back, you fire up. You let your silence confuse them, because while they're talking, you're transforming. While they're posting, you're progressing. While they're watching, you're winning. And when it all comes full circle, when the fruit shows up from the seeds you planted in silence, they'll look around confused, asking how you did it. And you won't have to say a word, because the answer was never in your voice, it was always in your consistency. Never announce your moves. Real power moves like shadows, not like sirens. The loudest path isn't always the one that leads to legacy. Every time you speak too soon, you give the world a chance to interfere, to distract, to dismantle what you haven't even finished building yet. Wisdom understands that the seed grows best underground. You protect it, you nurture it, you water it in silence, and when it finally breaks the surface, it's already too strong to be pulled out by noise. The most dangerous thing you can do with vision is expose it before it's ready. Before your foundation is firm, before your focus is fortified. You don't owe your progress to the public. You don't need likes to validate purpose. Your dream isn't a campaign, it's a covenant, and you guard it like it's sacred because it is. While they announce every step, you take steps that speak without sound. While they broadcast their hustle, you let your grind go unseen until it becomes undeniable. The more you grow, the more you realize how unnecessary it is to explain yourself. You're not in competition with their attention, you're in covenant with your calling. Every move made in silence adds pressure to the moment you show up. They didn't see the late nights, the sacrifice, the fear, the failure. They just see the result and call it sudden, but there was nothing sudden about it. You just knew how to suffer in silence. You knew how to build in the dark. You knew how to rise without applause. And that's what makes your success unshakable. It wasn't hyped, it was earned. And the ones who earn it quietly walk into rooms louder than the ones who shout about it every day. When you don't announce your moves, you protect your energy. You keep distractions out of your circle. You avoid the opinions that have no business shaping your direction. You move with intention, not for attention. You understand that momentum is fragile, and every time you talk instead of act, you're breaking the rhythm that was designed to carry you forward. Silence is not secrecy, it's strategy. Silence is not fear, it's focus. There's a difference between hiding and holding. You're not hiding from the world, you're holding your vision close until it's ready to breathe on its own. And when that moment comes, when the world finally sees what you've been building, you won't need to speak loudly. The results will echo. The work will echo. The transformation will echo. People will wonder how it happened so fast, but you'll know it was never fast. It was just quiet, quiet and relentless, quiet and intentional, quiet and sacred, because you never needed to be seen to be strong. You never needed noise to have impact. You just needed time, discipline, and silence to let the work speak for you when the time was right.